Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. It is I, once again, screaming into the void of the internet. It's been a minute, mainly because we got a lot of thunderstorms down here, so I haven't had a lot of time to actually be outside and record. But I have something that I'm going to talk about, right? I was reading an article, and, I was discussing it with a few people, and it was essentially about how this guy, must have... Well, I'll tell you two. So I'm not going to just say this guy. One of these people, one of these individuals, he iced his girlfriend, and he essentially mag-dumped her because he shot her 8 times, right? And then he made up a story and blah, 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 blah. This is all you need to know for that one, right? Then we have number 2, in which it's this other guy that essentially stabbed his wife, then proceeded to chop her up, then proceeded to grind her up, then proceeded to liquefy her remains with acid and then claim it was self-defense. Now, the guy from the first story, I guess to kind of summarize it, he tried to claim that he didn't know who did it at first and stuff like that, but, the police realized his story didn't add up, and, they arrested him and whatnot. But I kind of want to talk about this for a second, because I wanted to talk about why I feel people go to these lengths and whatnot. And I'm going to tell you why. And it's not necessarily me saying that I know exactly. This is just my opinion on the matter. Because when I was talking to people about it, they seem to have this opinion that they need to follow the freaking mainstream media's opinion on this stuff. Which is funny to me, because a lot of times, the people that I at least run with, maybe not close, but associate with occasionally, right? They're not quick to just believe the media. But for some reason, when it comes down to, Mudar, they're just like, oh, we should just believe them. Oh, no. Because you see, here's how that works. A lot of information that they have is the information that they release to the public. Then there's information that the police keep to themselves that they don't release to the public. And so these days, when it comes down to Mudar, I do not find myself quickly saying, he's unjustified. Because even if it's effed up, now, the guy who, completely butchered his gal, that was just premeditated. I don't know about him. But at least, say this guy who mag-dumped, I don't know the full details. I don't know what was going on in that freaking relationship. I still don't know what was going on in the other one where he, freaking played some freaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know what was going on in that one either. But I do know this. For some reason, there is this massive drive to ignore underlying circumstances. For some reason, the mainstream media can legally just get on, completely refuse to elaborate on all of the information. People formulate an opinion and then just go, oh, yeah, that guy's obviously guilty and whatnot. Even though a lot of these guys are just everyday guys, they mind their business, they don't have any criminal record, maybe they have some tickets or something, and that's about it, right? But then they freaking pop one day, and people want to look stupid. And my question to everyone else is, why are you expecting them not to pop? With the amount of pressure on guys as it is, and let's say that they're into some freaking abusive arse relationship, which most freaking relationships are, they usually are toxic as hell, don't get it twisted. Why aren't you expecting them to pop? How many freaking signs and symbols do we need about, freaking people saying, oh, help me, I need help in relationships for the chicks? You remember that little dot that they would have on their hands and stuff like that? You remember, the numbers that they would have them call to make them pretend like they were, calling to, say, order a pizza, and they're calling 911 to talk about domestic abuse and stuff like that. They got all this help for chicks, and you don't have anything for guys, right? And this isn't necessarily just for, chicks, but I'm going to talk about men mainly because I see the world from the male lens. And I'm going to talk about the justice system in a minute. We know at the end of the day that judges are told to view the word of a man as less than the word of a woman. And you're usually catering towards chicks. People will try and link stuff about where the chicks do get punished, but listen, that's more or less happening a bit more consistently now, but it's still not 100% consistent, because if you don't really believe that freaking chicks get off easier just because they're freaking chicks, look this up right now. Type in woman kills essentially her son and hides him, I think for 2 weeks or something like that. I think it was 2 weeks, and pretended like he didn't exist. Do you want to know what she got sentenced with? She got sentenced with 2 years. She murdered her kid, told all of her daughters to say that, her son didn't exist. Lied to the cops consistently, because I think that whole video that I watched was 40 minutes? lied to the cops, like, because listen, that's just a video. I don't know how long she was talking to these bastards, right? But she lied about her son existing, and I think he was like, what, 10 years old. Said he didn't exist. And the hammer of so-called justice that she gets is 2 years. Do you not think that there are men, millions of men that see that crap? Do you not think that they know that no matter what they do, no matter where they go, they're going to get freaking gaslit? When someone's giving them a problem, when they're dealing with stuff, they're just going to be the villain. They see that they're going to be the villain. I made a video a bit back saying, hey, this world doesn't want heroes. Don't try to be one. This doesn't necessarily mean that you just devolve into being a villain and you just embrace like effed up stuff. But I'm just going to be completely real. I don't freaking judge guys when they freaking pop. I don't freaking glorify it. I don't say it was the thing to do, but I'm just going to be completely real. If I was in that position, if someone was like freaking gaslighting me and stuff like that inconsistently and I couldn't go anywhere else, and it started getting physical, like some of this crap that I'm hearing with these guys and stuff like that, I don't blame them. And this is, say, infidelity and stuff like that. People like to say, oh, well, it's an emotional response. Yeah, jackarse, if you haven't known this, you have emotions. Let me ask you a question. When people try to say, oh, that's an emotional response, you shouldn't respond like that. Okay. If some random arse stranger punches your kid, what's your emotions going to be? What's the emotion? Because, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to be a pleasant emotion. Right? You're not going to be experiencing joy or anything. You're not going to run up to that little bastard that hit your kid and say, sir, stop. Just like an emotionless freaking anime protagonist. That's not what the world is. You're going to be freaking pissed and you're going to charge the bastard. But for some reason, they think that you having an emotional response to a situation in your life is somehow now, oh, that's unjustifiable, especially like if it made you really mad to the point where you're going to excommunicate somebody. You have no idea what these people are going through, which blows me away considering that you, just off of what you're going through, the average freaking person that's going through stuff today, like, do you genuinely think that you can't snap? You really think that? You really think that? Because, listen, I'd argue that in a lot of cases, the difference is this person snapped and harmed someone else. A lot of people might snap and just harm themselves, if you catch my drift, and just excommunicate themselves. I was listening to this guy who essentially was involved in, like, the racing scene, and he was quite successful, He had the so-called dream life that all these jackarses sit around here and claim that, oh, I have to have it, I have to have my family, right? He gets his dream life. He's a mechanic right on the track, right? So when the cars come in, he does the work on them. He has a kid, 5 years old. He has a wife. He kills himself recently. Would you like to know why? Because his whore of a wife started sleeping with somebody else. And then she straight up told him, that she was going to divorce him and take the kid. And he chose to not deal with all that. And despite having a kid, knowing that now that kid is going to be left with a whore like her, he just let go. He smoked himself. A lot of people would call that, like an emotional response. And it was. Of despair. What is this nonsense that people seem to have about people having emotional responses when they're dealing with a world like this? Do you genuinely think that everyone around here who doesn't show emotions... Listen, I'm someone who doesn't really show emotions. That doesn't mean that, I don't get emotional about things. You're going to get emotional about things at some point. Even if you're one of these people that tries to bury them. You're going to get emotional. And this guy got emotional. And he snapped. And instead of hurting her, he hurt himself. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't really see the difference. Because listen, at the end of the day, not the end of the day, he snapped. He just hurt himself, not her. A lot of the cases with the Mudarars, they snapped and then they hurt them. And let me ask you a question. Realistically speaking, you want to know how you get change at the end of the day? The change starts when people that are doing effed up stuff start getting effed up right back. Because for some reason, people seem to think that, oh, this stuff is unjustified, it doesn't matter, there's no justifiable reason that you should harm someone else, and blah, 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 blah. And you're living in a world now where they're going out of their way to make your life hell. They're going out of your way to make your life hell. They're going out of their way to censor you. They're going out of their way to tell you that under any circumstances are you to fight back, are you to retaliate, are you to just confront this nonsense. Whether it's a cheating wife, whether it's somebody making your life hell at school. Because I'm telling you, keep an eye on this school crap, because a lot of these people make fun about, like, American school shooters and stuff like that. But I'm going to ask you a question. Think about all these little boys that grow up to OnlyFans whores of a mom. Can you imagine the bullying? Like, people joke about this crap. They think that crap's funny. I don't think that crap's funny, man. People get bullied enough. Can you imagine being consistently shown your mom's privates and what she did to this anonymous bastard online? And then they're showing, oh, look at what I made your mom do. Consistently every day. You think that it's a lot of school shootings now? Wait till that happens. Because I'm telling you something right now, man. People can only take so much. Retaliation is the natural way of things. I don't know what freaking world that these dumbasses are living in, where they seem to think that, oh, because society tells me no, I should just accept it. Well, listen, I get that society tries to operate outside of nature. I get that. But at the end of the day, nature usually is going to rule in a lot of certain areas. When it comes down to, say, retaliation, nature's usually going to win. It just seems like, people are incapable of it because they're really trying to, like, beat it out of you. But you're seeing a lot more now that, no, they're pissed. What do they have to lose? They're going to retaliate. These people are blowing up. And like I said, it's the natural state. Why shouldn't they a lot of times? Why should they just continuously accept the treatment that they're getting? Why is it all of a sudden a problem when they blow up? And then the media somehow can legally just lie and withhold information and say, oh no, he was always bad, he was just this person and that person, blah, 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 blah. When you actually take the time to look at it, when you review more of the footage that didn't get released, when the police do their backgrounds, oh, average Joe. No violent history, no nothing. And then he snaps. All of a sudden he's just, scum of the earth. Because he's just continuously supposed to get effed in the arse and accept just getting screwed over and never retaliate. It makes no sense to me. Because listen, I'm telling you, it can't be me. Listen, I think that this society has succeeded in breeding out retaliation a lot. But what they don't realize is that urge to retaliate can still grow on you. And the more that you realize just how badly you're getting effed with, the higher chances that it will be for retaliation. You genuinely think that there aren't tons of reasons for someone to just snap right now? The cost of living, the economic decline, God rest your soul if you're in one of these freaking demon rat hellholes where they're allowing the freaking criminals to just come and grape you and then they release them. And then if you snap, they're going to lock you up for life? Hell no. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. I'm just going ahead and be real. And interpret this as you will. I'd smoke as many piggies on my way out. If I defended myself and I was in one of these hellholes, and you're going to tell me that I'm going to go to jail for protecting myself or my family, I'm not going to jail. I'll smoke as many piggies as I can on my way out, and that's that. Because what is the point of living if you are in a world where they are honestly trying to tell you, don't retaliate, when someone's effing your arsehole, just accept it? A lot of these guys see that, they realize that they're doomed no matter what, for the most part. It is a miracle when these guys actually get a case where, they win. And in the rare instances where, they do win, they still have been in jail for, 7, 10 years. What the heck are you left with after that? Your life is gone. Do you think that even if you bought a house, that the government's not going to just come and take that from you because no one's there? You think vandals aren't going to come in and just take everything you've got? If you got Listen, if you're renting, oh yeah, you best believe it. Oh, it's gone. It's all gone. The cars, all of that stuff's gone. But you're supposed to sit there and accept that nonsense. You're supposed to sit there and just say, nope, I must be a good little boy and sit in the corner and never retaliate. No, 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 no. No. Listen, I'm not going to say that when these people pop and it's ugly, that it's justified. But I'm also not going to sit around here and pretend to say I don't get it. Because I get it. I get it, man. I get when you're sacrificing, when you're busting your arse for a family, and then you've got some whore of a wife that just throws all that away. And it's not like she just throws it away where it's just a cheating, right? She's then going to take your kid, the family that you worked so hard to build, she's going to take that, and then take all of your stuff on the way out through divorce. I understand why that guy killed himself. But I'm also going to tell you this right now. I wouldn't blame him if he chose to stay around and go in the cage and put her stupid arse in the ground. I wouldn't blame him at all. But suddenly we're supposed to look at the world and be like, oh no, that's unjustified. How could you possibly say that? The hell do you mean, how could I possibly say that? How could I not? Well, that's just not fair. It's awful. And in the rare instances where you do see chicks actually go to jail, look what they get. Like I said, that freaking woman excommunicates her son, pretends he doesn't exist for 2 weeks. She's in jail for 2 years. That's the grandiose justice that we come to expect from the judicial system. Is anyone surprised when these fellas snap? When they snap, they realize that is the only time that they are actually going to get their justice. Their comeuppance. That's the only time. Because if they leave it to the system, they don't get anything. If they talk about the crap that they're dealing with, nothing happens. So the only way something happens is when they do it themselves. And they just have to be ready to deal with the consequences. And at the end of the day, human nature kicks in and they say, man, I don't want those consequences. And so they call the cops and they lie. But then again, a lot of times they sometimes just say, hey, listen, I did it. And it is what it is. Because I'm going to be honest, guys. Like, if I would make a lot of passes. I would make a lot of passes on some of these fellas, especially when they don't have any kind of criminal record. And they've just been going through hell. And someone's just expected to just, oh no, you should just accept it. It's not a violation of your rights. Don't worry about it. You're in a society that's essentially telling you, like, if this was nature, if this was National Geographic, Animal Planet, whatever, every channel you want to watch like animals on, if you even remember those, because I haven't seen those in years, right? It is literally the equivalent of a male lion coming into another male lion's territory, slicing him into ribbons, keeping him alive, but that male lion is never allowed to retaliate. But he stays in the territory, he can't mate with females, he can't, eat any of the food, and every day that other male lion that's, in his territory comes, F's him up, leaves, comes, F's him up, leaves, and he's never allowed to retaliate. All of you would look at that male lion that's getting effed up, and you say that there is something wrong with that male lion because he's not retaliating. But somehow, when it comes down to humanity, we're supposed to look at that and say, oh, no, that guy's, don't retaliate, no. Nah, not me. I don't look at that through the same lens. I'm not glorifying when somebody takes someone else's life, but I'm not going to say it's not justified. There are reasons why people did that back in the day. Do not assume that just because, we're in a so-called modern culture that everything that we do is perfect. Every culture that has ever existed usually has believed that their way of doing things is right. And I am convinced without a shadow of a doubt that, my God, that is not the case. And it has never been the case, and it certainly is not the case now. Because this pussification crap, this anti-retaliation crap, that is one of the main reasons why the world, in my opinion, is the way that it is right now. Do you genuinely think that if you had the ability to, for example, let's just talk about this immigration for a minute, to smoke these immigrants when they're coming in and they're freaking murdering your freaking animals, when they're freaking molesting your kids, when you could freaking dumpster them? You think that they would be, excuse me, do you think that they'd be doing it as much as they're doing it right now? Would it stop completely? Obviously not. But do you think that it would be as high as it is right now? Nah. Not by a long shot. Do you think if it was like how a lot of kingdoms were, where eventually they had enough and they just charged to where the kings and the rulers are, excommunicated them, and then tried to do it again, do you think we'd be in the position that we are now? I don't think so. I'm not going to say that it would be perfect, because all that's going to happen is a power vacuum will form. But that's the truth. That's the truth. We are in a position where they have completely tried to take away any semblance of retaliation. And any time that someone actually does go through with it, he's shamed. And notice that I say he, because in the rare instances where the chicks are caught, they don't really get the same sentence. So I don't really like even talking about that. How many times have I talked about these instances where these chicks are pedo bears, PDF files, and a couple of months? Banging all these students, oh, but they enjoy it. Doesn't matter. If they're not legal, they're not legal. Because if a guy says she enjoyed it, suddenly it's a problem. Right? Like, if you want me to, like, kind of be lighthearted for a moment, that's why, like, a lot of these bastards seem to make a joke about, like, freaking, like, Griffith, and they get so pissed, right? When someone says Casca enjoyed it, they get mad. Yet they're laughing at Guts when he was a little boy getting molested. Isn't that interesting? How angrier they are when someone makes a joke about Casca, considering that she's a woman, versus Guts being a little boy getting molested. Because there is some kind of inherent, you are not allowed to see the female species in that light. But it's fine to see the male species in that light and say, oh, they're pathetic, that's funny, booty bandit, ha ha ha, don't drop the soap, bro. This is why I'm telling you, I don't blame guys when they pop. I don't blame them. Listen, I've got a line. I have a line that I know. That's why, like, I plan on, like, you know, staying away from most people. Because I don't know what the heck's going on through their heads. I don't know how woke they are. I don't know, like, what kind of cancel culture crap's going through their mind. I don't need a lot of friends. Because there's only so many times where someone can stick that knife in between your ribs and puncture a lung or try and get at your heart. There's only so many times where that can happen before you can say, you know, I think I'm sick of this. I think I'm going to armor up and just keep to myself. And listen, if you don't want to do that, then that's fine. But you got to realize that you got to deal with that on a regular basis. Because I genuinely think that if some of these guys learned to, like, kind of just mind their own space, I don't think they would have popped. But a lot of times it's too late because they done already started a family, or they're in a relationship with this person, or, you know, it's school or something like that. Because like I said, keep your eyes on this school crap. I mean it. This freaking son of OnlyFans whores, that crap's going to blow up. I promise you. It would not surprise me if a lot of kids, after doing that, or before they even get to school, they smoke their mom, and then they go to school, and then they smoke school. Mark my words, that's going to happen. That crap's going to happen. The level of freaking bullying that they're going to get when they're just being riddled with all of these pictures of their whores of a mom, I can't imagine. I really can't imagine. I can't, man. But I'm going to try and wrap this up. My point that I'm trying to make with my little ramble, if it was still, like, you know, somewhat coherent to someone, is for some reason, well, not for some reason, because I think I know the reason, right? No one wants to accept the underlying circumstances of these issues, especially when men are involved, when men are the person who did something. These chicks can lie about rape. They can murder somebody. They can murder their own kid. Not even abortion, you know, if someone wants to get their freaking arsehole puckered about that. I'm talking about, like, their actual kid. This chick, look it up. I'm dead serious. Don't believe me. Look it up. It's on YouTube right now. Look it up. She lies about her kid existing. She lies about her son existing. They find out she's lying. They catch her in the lie. Next thing you know, she gets sentenced. Oh, maybe some justice will happen. Nope. 2 years. Her kid is dead. Whatever. Whatever potential was there is just left a mystery. I'm not going to sit around here and lie and say that, he could have been the next freaking, I don't know, freaking Thomas Edison or something like that, right? I'm not going to lie. I don't know. But we'll never know because she robbed that from him. For whatever reason that she did it. And the fact that we live in a society that's going to just say 2 years makes no sense. But when it comes down to the man, no matter what, he's not supposed to retaliate. We're not supposed to look at the underlying circumstances. We're not supposed to look at that because it humanizes him. It makes you realize that at the end of the day, you know what? That could happen to me. He just was forced to his line. He got pushed behind his line and he retaliated. Because a lot of us want to think that that can't happen to us because they have tried their freaking hardest to beat it out of us. And maybe they've succeeded. Based off of how stuff is, maybe they've succeeded with some people. But there's always going to be people that no, they're not going to accept that. And I'm going to be honest, I think I realize who it is a lot of times. It's the people that had a really rough childhood and a rough life in general. Because they know they can't just freaking retaliate. They can't just sit there and just not retaliate. They can't just be a victim. They can't do that. They can't do that. It's maybe these cushy bastards that maybe decent childhood, maybe their view on the world is very sheltered. And so they think, well, I'll just trust the government. I'll just trust the process. I'm sure they won't treat me like dog crap. And it's only when they're in that position that they realize. It's only when they're in that position. And it doesn't mean that they do, what other people did and snap. But it's only when they're through that they can say, I understand. I understand how this could make someone cross that line. Because what's going on here with all of this nonsense where people are going to jail for life. For life. For defending their families from freaking criminals and rapists. And your government is telling you don't retaliate. No, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. People are going to fight back. This is why I'm saying, listen, the only way that this really ends, realistically speaking, is in a civil war. Maybe a whole bunch of these pansies and freaking soy cucks are going to just sit here and they're going to accept that, but a lot of people are not going to accept that. They're not just going to be forced in a corner, beat with a stick every day, and just get up and just sit in that corner and accept that they're going to get beat every day. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Maybe a lot of people, like I said, maybe it's been beaten out of them already. And so they're going to sit there. But there's still going to be quite a few people that are going to get up and they're going to fight back. It is what it is. That's all I really got to say for now. I hope you got something out of it. And like I said, don't take it at my word. Look it up. Look it up if you feel like what I'm saying is invalid and whatnot. Look it up. Look at how the judicial system treats people who do so-called similar things. And you tell me who's wrong. See you next time. God bless.